Hello everybody and welcome back to Gaming on Caffeine. My name is Isaac and we are back playing some FTB Infinity for episode 50. And today we have got quite a bit of stuff to do because today we are finally going to get started on this little project. These like two gaping holes in our wall in the power room that I have been kind of teasing at for the last couple of episodes now. And basically you could probably have guessed by the inclusion of this reinforced obsidian what we are going to do down in this room. And the keen-eyed among you may have also noticed that quite a few episodes back, we deconstructed our wither killer from over at the back of our Thorncraft room, and jeez, these flipping cats do not stop spawning in that room. It's kind of ridiculous. But basically, the plan for today is to set up a once and for all, fully automatic wither killing system that will just, I will turn the switch on at the end of this episode, and it will just continue to kill withers, produce nether stars for ever and ever and ever and ever and ever, and will never ever stop, and it will be fantastic. The reason this is an improvement over the one we have already is because the one we had upstairs was a bit laborious. Basically, all it did was kill the wither. We had to put all the blocks down manually. We had to collect all the drops up manually. It was a bit tedious. The plan is today that I do not have to touch it again after this episode, and it will just run forever and ever and get us unlimited nether stars, and it will be fantastic. But before we can start on that, we have to think about how we're going to kill the wither. Now, before we used the Killer Joe, and we're actually going to use the Killer Joe again, but in order for the Killer Joe to run, it requires a constant stream of nutrient distillation. If we go ahead and throw this thing down like that, you'll see there's no power bar, there is just the nutrient tank over here, which contains nutrient distillation, which is made in a vat by combining two of a varied amount of items. You can use quite a few different things here, for instance, heads, mushrooms, but the ones that we're going to use are sugar and zombie brains, because those are the two that I found are going to be the easiest to get hold of. First of all, the zombie brains. They used to be in this barrel over here. I've gone ahead and moved them to this barrel over here. A bit of a minor little change, but it allowed me to set up this storage bus fairly easily. It now goes down and hooks up to our AE system, which basically means that if we go ahead and type in zombie brains, we can access all 4,310 of the zombie brains in here. I guess actually there are only 4,096, but we can access all of the zombie brains being produced by our mob spawner, by our AE system, which is going to be very useful because then we're going to need to export them into our vat to produce an unlimited amount of nutrient distillation. Next on the list is sugarcane. So between episodes, I went ahead and set up another farming station out here next to our farming station for the rubber tree saplings. That is, now, see, some of these say sacred rubber tree saplings. And for those who haven't seen, the sacred rubber tree saplings are very, very dangerous indeed. But then when you pick them up, they go back to normal rubber tree saplings. I'm not quite sure if that's a bug or what, but it's kind of scary. If you haven't seen it yet, like Google image sacred rubber tree sapling, or go try it for yourself if you've got a computer that's not going to burn to the ground. But the sacred rubber tree saplings are massive, like ridiculously huge. Anyway, back on track here. Basically, farming station, circle of water to allow it to actually grow the sugarcane. For some reason, you need a hoe in here instead of an axe to cut down sugarcane. I have no idea why that's a thing. I would have assumed you need an axe to kind of cut down the sugarcane, but no, instead it requires a hoe. You'll also notice that I've gone ahead and hooked up some AE cables. Basically what I did here is I intercepted the line that's on its way to that little interface down there, and just added in these two cables here, because what we need to do is set up some export buses to keep a constant stream of axes coming into here to cut down the trees, and hoes coming into here to keep cutting down the sugarcane. And then we need to find a way to get the sugarcane back into the AE system, turn it into sugar, and have it constantly streamed to the vat so that we can get ourselves our unlimited nutrient distillation. So the first thing we're going to do there is grab two of these export buses as well as two crafting cards, and basically what we're going to have to do is teach our system how to make both hoes and axes, both of which should be fairly easy to do. I'm going to go ahead and make them both stone. So let's go ahead and do something like this, encode, and then this, and encode. And if we throw these both into one of our interfaces connected to the molecular assembler, we should then just be able to go ahead and do something like this. Put an export bus right about there. And if we go ahead and right click it and just put a crafting card in and go grab ourselves a hoe and stick it in there, it should auto craft hoes whenever it needs them. And the same thing over here, we'll just go and stick you down like that. Stick in a crafting card. Let's go grab, actually let's just request, let's see, stone. Let's request one of those. Shouldn't take too long at all. And one of those. Again, shouldn't take too long at all. Boom, boom. And this should start to work. That's gone blue, which means it's good. It has enough channels. Let's do that. Does that, if I take that out, is that gonna work? Is the question. I might have to make that a pull, although I don't think I should have to. Okay, so it turns out the problem there is that our system doesn't quite know how to make sticks, of all things. So, let's go ahead and grab some oak planks, because it actually also doesn't know how to turn these oak wood logs into oak planks. So we'll go ahead and encode that, and then we will go ahead and do something like this. Teach the system how to make sticks using these planks, and then it should be good to go. We'll go boom, boom, encode. We'll stick both of those back into our interface. Also to note, by the way, since the end of last episode, I have gone ahead and changed the way that we access the wood and all the stuff from the tree farm up here. I stuck a bunch of storage buses on the bottom of these barrels, so again, the AE system can now access all of this stuff from all the way up here, which is pretty awesome, which means all of the wood that this tree farm produces will continue to go ahead and function pretty nicely and be able to be used by the AE system. And if we go ahead and take a look in here, we can see that we now have a hoe. If we take the hoe out, it should put another hoe in there fairly quickly. He said with the utmost confidence. Let me go ahead and just stick the axe in here real quick whilst we wait. Stone axe. And that should also fill up pretty quickly. Is it doing it? Did it work? It did. Look at that. It's got a stone hoe. Nice. And then this should do pretty much the same. Should fill up with an axe. And then this thing should just continue to run forever and ever and ever. And it should be great. So, that is all up and running. We have now got an unlimited supply of sugarcane, which is great. We are going to have to teach our system real quick how to actually make sugarcane into sugar. Like this. It's just boom and encode. And this is because on the vat that we're going to set up, we're just going to stick another export bus with another crafting card, and then obviously set it to export sugar. And if it doesn't have any sugar, it's going to craft the sugarcane that we have in our AE system from the sugarcane farm into sugar and export it to the vat. So, let's grab our vat real quick, and now we've got to kind of decide where in the world we're going to put this thing. So, you have to stay there. I'm thinking we put it just here for now. This thing does require power, so we are going to have to go ahead and hook it up. But that should be fine, because our main source of power is just here, so we can just run some cables, and it should be good to go. But we're also going to need to go ahead and grab some ME cable, which we do have, but only the Ender IO kind, which is not really the kind that I'm after. Let me see here. I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to make myself some ME cable and some regular redstone flux ducts here, and I'm going to hook both of these up to here with some export buses, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I did end up actually using the ME conduits for part of this system here, and the reason I use these is mostly because we can just go ahead and grab some of these conduit facades and just cover this stuff up at a later date and make the room look nice again. We don't actually have to see all this stuff. And what I might do in the future is actually move all of this conduit here down into the floor as well, and then cover all that up, because I think at the minute this room's a little bit messy, and I kind of would like to see it a little bit tidier in the future. But for now, let's go ahead and set this up like so. I made 2 more ME export buses. We're going to stick one there and one there. And then if we do this and this, we should be able to set one just to zombie brains or rotten flesh if you're playing without this fax texture pack, like so. And then on the other side, we can just set sugar, which our AE system does now know how to make. So we'll go ahead and throw that in there, stick in a crafting card, and that should go ahead and start to fill both of those up. There we go, sugar's already in there. It's going to go pretty slowly, but thankfully this thing doesn't actually burn them up all that fast, so it should last quite a while. Now this does also require a constant stream of water, so what I'm also thinking about doing is setting up an unlimited water source, which we do have somewhere, and I can't quite remember where. We do have an unlimited water source somewhere, and I'm thinking of setting that up with an ender tank, quite like we have in the nether, so we can go ahead and move the water from the unlimited water source to the vat downstairs with a lot of ease. And speaking of ender stuff, we'll get to the water in just a second, but we didn't quite finish what we were... Oh, gee, thank you. We didn't quite finish what we were doing out here, because this thing does actually need to be able to send all of its sugarcane back. You can see right now, it's just kind of sitting there. Now, what we could do, and what would probably be the easiest thing to do, and what I'm going to try and do, is set up an import bus. Now, I did actually have another plan. I was going to use ender chests, but... import bus. I have a feeling, and it's import, not import. Import bus. I have a feeling that an import bus would actually be a lot easier to do if we just so happen we don't. Okay, let's go ahead and request a few logic processors. Thankfully, our AE system does know how to make those, so we'll just go ahead and do that. Let's get ourselves a piston, and then thus forth a sticky piston, like so. Do we have any rubber? We do. For some reason, it didn't want to use rubber. Do we have the first one? We do not. Okay, that's going to go ahead and make its stuff. While that's doing that, let's go. I'm going to go away, guys. I'm going to set up an unlimited water source with an aqueous accumulator. I'm going to make an aqueous accumulator, and we're going to set up an unlimited water source. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so a little while later, what I've gone ahead and done is set up a unlimited water source back here. We have 2 water source blocks and an aqueous accumulator, and we are out of food, which is never a good sign. Let me quickly grab some apples, which we can now pull all the way from the roof, which is kind of cool. And then if you wouldn't mind just going ahead and absorbing those and feeding me for the next long while, that would be very nice indeed. But basically what I've done here is we have ourselves an aqueous accumulator, and although it would have been easier to go ahead and set this up downstairs next to the vat, one of my plans here is if we just quickly go ahead and set this to red, like so, and give it a different frequency, and then let it fill up with water. My plan here is to have one central unlimited source of water, and then for every machine that needs water, we can just go ahead and stick an ender tank on top of it, and it will use water from that unlimited water source, and that should make our lives a lot easier in the future when it comes to giving things a source of water. So if we head on down to here now and do something like this, stick our ender tank on top, like so, set it to the red being the first one. That should start to fill up with water. And then if we go ahead and go to configure IO, and at the top we want to set it to pull, like that, it should start to pull in the water from the tank, which is doing, therefore pulling water from our aqueous accumulator upstairs. And if we real quick go and get our import buses, which should now be, we should now be able to make them import bus. Let's see, do we have the processors? We do not. That is because of an unknown reason. Why is that not working? We scheduled 10, it was crafting 10, we got 0. And let's see here, circuit. I want to get just 1, I guess. That should... Oh, why? For some reason, that didn't want to import them. I think we may have a channel issue somewhere there. I'll fix that at some point in the future. But for now, let's just go ahead and see if we can finish this thing off here. Let's grab our logic processor. Let's throw that in there. Let's do that. Let's make 2 of you. 1 and 1 more sticky piston. Makes 2, and we'll go ahead and stick 1 of these on the rubber tree farm, and we'll stick 1 on the sugarcane farm as well. And basically, that's going to render these little barrels here irrelevant, but we'll go ahead and move those in the future. Hopefully, we have enough channels for this, and if we don't, I might have to rework the channel system just a little bit. But we'll do that, and we'll set the top there again to push like that, and that should start to push all of this sugarcane up and out into our AE system. If that decides to turn blue, which it did. And there we go. It's going to start to slowly move all that stuff into the AE system. And now the AE system can go ahead and access all of our stuff, which is absolutely fantastic. We'll do the same here. We'll set that to push. And we'll go ahead and just do this. Boom, boom, and boom. Nice. Cool. Okay, let's head on back in here. So we've done a lot of prep work now. I think we are about ready to actually start making and setting up the wither spawner, and the way we're going to set it up so it's going to automatically spawn the wither, kill the wither, and then spawn the wither again, kill the wither again, and all the meanwhile picking up all the stuff and sorting it back into our AE system. So the way we're going to do that is using some of these machines that I've pre-made over in this chest over here. You'll see we have teleposers, we have 3 autonomous activators, 4 block placers, which are just like autonomous activators, but are from open blocks, and we'll get to why I've got both of them in just a second. I've also made a timer from Project Red and a repeater. Pretty much all of this stuff we've used before in the series, so it should be fairly familiar. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to set up something like this. Now these I want to be facing forward, so I guess we have to put them down from the back like that, and we're going to put down them like this in the shape of the wither. So these guys here, and you are still wrong, I think I have to put it down like very carefully towards the front of the block. There we go. These guys here are going to place down the soul sand for the wither, because of course to make a wither we need 4 soul sand and then 3 wither skeleton skulls. Now, the cool thing about the block placers is that they don't require any power. Unfortunately, the autonomous activators, on the other hand, do require power in the newest versions of thermal expansion. So you may be wondering, Isaac, why are you using autonomous activators at all? And the reason why I'm using autonomous activators is because they are a little bit slower than the block placers. So if we apply a redstone signal to all of them at once, it will place down all of the soul sand first, and then very slightly after, like milliseconds after, it will place down all the wither skeleton skulls, which is the perfect setup for spawning the wither, because if we place them down all at the same time, there is a chance that the wither won't spawn. When you spawn the wither in, you have to put the wither skeleton skulls on after you've put the soul sand down. So that's why we have that set up as it is. And basically what we're going to do over here is we're going to go grab ourselves some we're going to grab ourselves some red alloy wire, which I did go ahead and almost make before we start here. Red alloy wire. I went ahead and made some red alloy ingots, so we should be able to just go ahead and do something like this. And what we're going to do is we're gonna go boom, 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 boom. And now, all we have to do is set a timer down, and we should be good to go. So I'm going to move this back just a little bit, because we do have to kind of make a bit of space for our timer and such. And I will go ahead and make this look a little bit nicer in the future as well. We'll move this these Tyrian blocks back, which are from Chisel, by the way, for those who are wondering. And I think we'll go one more further back here. Like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to stick down the timer like this. And this is just going to be set up so that it spawns a wither every couple of seconds. We're going to time how long it takes for the wither to get spawned and then killed over here by the Killer Joe. Bearing in mind the Killer Joe is over here. And we are also going to need to get ourselves some fluiducts. Like so. This should be fairly easy to set up. And boom. There we go. That should keep that filled up forever now. Okay, cool. So, I'm actually thinking that this might not work. And the reason I'm thinking this might not work, not the whole system, we have another way around it. I'm thinking the red alloy wire might not work. Because basically what we have to do here is within these blocks, we have to keep a constant supply of wither skeleton skulls in the autonomous activator. That is being taken care of by our wither skeleton farm over in the Nether, which I have updated, by the way. I'll show you that in just a second. And also we have to keep these block places filled up with a constant supply of soul sand. Now, as of right now, we don't have an unlimited source of soul sand, so we will have to keep going and getting some of that. I might set up like just a really big quarry in the Nether and just get a ton of soul sand and fill up our AE system. But for now, what I did before the episode started is I went ahead and just got almost 1,000 soul sand. So we should be good for quite a while here. But what's going to happen is if we were to put down red alloy wire, there would be no way of getting all the soul sand into this middle block here. So what I'm thinking we might have to do instead is actually use some conduits from Ender.io. So let's have a look here. Do we have any of those still lying around? Conduits from Ender.io. We have some energy conduits, and we have some insulated redstone conduits. Redstone conduits we are going to need, but we're also going to need some item conduits from Ender.io as well. And the reason why we need item conduits, and hopefully we have some pulsating iron, thankfully we do. The reason why we're going to need item conduits is because the Ender.io conduits are capable of being in the same block at the same time. And basically what this is going to allow us to do is something like this. We can put down, actually I'm going to do item conduits first. Like that. We need to set all of these autonomous activators so that they accept items from the back. Like so. Like that. And then what we have to do is you have to make sure that all of these are set to insert. And that's not how you do that. Let's just go ahead and shift right click real quick to get rid of that. And basically what we have to do is right click on this, set it to insert. And once we've got all these set to insert, the last thing that we need to do here is drag some more ME conduits over. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set up one more chest. And we do have a chest lying around, which is nice. We're going to stick that down right about there. And we're going to set this interface to extract. And we just have to turn redstone mode to active without signal. So it's going to constantly pull all of the stuff from this chest out and into either the autonomous activators or the block places. And in order to filter which items are going to go into there, we need to get ourselves some filters, which are these guys over here. Basic filters. Let's go ahead and grab a few of these. I'll make one here and show you how it works real quick. If we were to go ahead and stick one down on the first thing here, we can just go ahead and throw the filter in. And now we've got a bunch of slots here where we can go ahead and whitelist or blacklist, depending on what you want to do. We want to whitelist to only allow certain items to go through this conduit into this autonomous activator. In this case, we are going to use wither skeleton skulls. And we are just going to tell it that here, we want to only allow wither skeleton skulls into this autonomous activator. We're going to do the same thing for these two autonomous activators, and then of course, soul sand for all these block places. We're then going to set up an ME export bus over here that tells it to keep this chest constantly filled with wither skeleton skulls or with soul sand. And I think what we might actually do, just to make this a little bit easier, is set up a second chest right about there. And stick down a second import bus. Let me go ahead and just disconnect this side. disabled. This one needs to be extracted with that redstone signal. And then, do we have any export buses? We do not, but we can go ahead and make some here real quick. I think we might have all the stuff we need to make it. I guess we'll find out here. Let's see. Export bus. Alright, so now we have ourselves 2 export buses. Let's stick one down on this chest. And this one we're going to go ahead and tell it to always export soul sand, like so. And what it's going to do now is it should start to fill this thing with all the soul sand in our AE system. And one thing you do want to make sure you do on the item conduit here is make sure you turn round robin mode to enabled. So if we go ahead and look in this one, it starts off disabled. You want to make sure it's enabled, and that's going to make sure that it spreads it between all the inventories that are currently available. Because especially with things like soul sand, we don't have enough. We have 1,000 soul sand, and obviously each of these can hold 9 stacks of soul sand. We don't have enough to fill all of these blocks up. And if we hadn't have turned round robin mode on, it would have just filled up this one here and then stopped. What it's going to do with round robin is going to put one in here, in here, in here, in here, then in here, and here, and here, and here. It's going to kind of loop around and do them all one at a time to make sure they all get an even split of the soul sand. Shouldn't be too big of a deal with the wither skeleton skulls. I do think we have probably more than enough of those being made and coming into to not warrant it, but we'll do it anyway just to make sure things stay on track. Hopefully that goes blue and we don't have a channel issue. I don't think we will. We didn't. Which I think is a good thing. That should be filling that up, and then that should start to fill all these up. Very nice indeed. We do need to go ahead and either grab ourselves a tesseract or get ourselves some form of power hooked up to the autonomous activators over here. But we'll do that in just a second. What we want to set up before then is all of the insulated redstone conduits. These are all going to go on like so, and I didn't want to put it... Oh, no, yeah, I did. That's fine. We'll make sure that side's disabled. We want it only entering the block placer there. Let's put you on there, 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 and there. Nice. And I don't know if it really matters that these are both here, but we're going to turn them off just in case. And then basically what we're going to do is we're going to hook it up to this timer. But before we do, let's get into the next big part, or probably the biggest part of this system here. And these are the teleposers from Blood Magic. So up until now, we have been using these teleposers to move aura nodes around. However, it turns out that you can also actually go ahead and move entities with this as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to throw down a teleposer here and a teleposer over in here, right below this slot. If we can ever break through the super powerful reinforced obsidian, we're going to throw down one there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put in a focus. Now, previously, we've been using the, let's go ahead and check here real quick. Focus. We've been using this guy here, the teleposition focus, the basic focus from Blood Magic. However, there's a few upgraded focuses, and the second tier, the enhanced teleposition focus, instead of doing a 1x1x1 area, which is all we needed for an aura node, this guy does a 3x3x3 area, which is going to be enough to move both the blocks, because if we go down here real quick, we're going to want to move the blocks that are here, as well as the wither on top of it, and being able to move a 3x3x3 is going to allow it to move everything that's in this section over to here to have it killed, and then the killer Joe there is going to kill it, and we'll probably put down something like a vacuum hopper to go ahead and pick all of that stuff up. So all we have to do to make this thing work is, first of all, grab our little villager safari net and throw it back into the system downstairs, all the way over here. We haven't used this thing in a while, and the reason why I took it out is because for some reason this guy just likes to keep spawning them just endlessly. But that should go ahead and start to spawn. Come on, these flipping conveyor belts are just annoying. That's going to start to spawn some villagers in. Let's head back over here. How much do we have in our system right now? We have a full altar here, so we can go ahead and set the first one up. It does require 10,000 per teleposition focus, so let's go ahead and throw you in there, and I'm just going to wait here, guys. We'll grab our sacrificial dagger as well, so we can go ahead and start killing off these villagers and filling this guy up with some life points. But basically, this is going to go ahead and eat up 10,000 of our little blood essence life points in our altar here, and then once it's done, it should, any second now, actually. There we go, upgrade into the next tier. We'll go ahead and do the same thing for this, guys. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so now a little while later, we have ourselves 2 enhanced teleposition focuses. I also went ahead and hooked up some redstone flux ducts from our little line running under here. So these guys should now all be full up on power, which they are, and they're also all filling up still with the skeleton skulls, which is great. And now, all we should have to do is something like this. Let's shift right-click on, right-click on this guy, and then throw it into this guy. Like so. And then we'll do the same over here. We'll right click on this guy and we'll throw that over in the other teleposition focus like this. And now, just to test that real quick, I'm pretty sure that's right, but let's grab a lever, and let's do something like this. We're going to go ahead and break this block. And what should happen is if we flick this over, there we go. It's going to move all of the reinforced obsidian that used to be over here, back over here, and anything that was over here, it moved over there. And now if we were to quickly flick that lever again, if we could, like, actually reach the thing, let me just, do this, flick it back. Like that, and it goes away again. He puts it all back over there. Let me just quickly reattach all that stuff that I just broke. You can go there, and you can go there. And that's basically the premise. We're going to have that thing flick every so often to send the wither from here. We're going to have it spawn in, send over to this side, get killed by the wither Joe, and then switch things back and do the cycle over and over and over and over and over and over again. So, now all we have to do is... Oh, that's not what I wanted to do at all, and that actually kind of might have messed things up, but I think it should be overall okay. Let's fill that back up like that. That should be fine. What we need to do now is we need to go ahead and hook up this teleposition focus to the timer and all of the rest of the stuff. Now, what we need to do, and the reason why we have this repeater, is because the timer is going to activate all of these at once, but we want the teleposition, we want the teleposer down here to activate just a little bit after all of this is activated, because we want to activate it after the wither has been spawned in, but before it explodes. We want it to move over to here so that it can explode within the confinements of this reinforced obsidian, and then everything should be good. So, let's put you down there, in and out. That should work just fine. Let's go out, I guess, sideways, because this place is just becoming a mess. We're going to have to go ahead and clean this up at some point in the future. But for now, let's go ahead and grab some more of our redstone conduits here. I hope we have enough. If we go boom and boom. Now, that didn't work, so I think what we have to do is kind of right-click and do that. And I think we have to do the same over here. Now, we're going to wait a second. We're going to set this to, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, I think should be enough. And then I think this should work as well. If we do the same thing, just kind of right-click there and right-click here. I think that should work. And then what we'll do real quick to test it is let's just do this again, but over here this time. Click. Okay, didn't work. That's fine. All I think we have to do is replace this with actual redstone. And there we go. That actually worked. You'll see it actually teleported me over there as well for a brief second. If we go ahead and... Oh. Ooh, what are you doing? That's repeating endlessly, but I think that's fine because this is all going to emit a pulse and not actually a fully fledged lever there. So that should be fine. So, I think it's actually almost moment of truth. Let's think about this. I need to throw down, I need to get my reinforced obsidian back. Reinforced obsidian. We need to put that back down inside here. Like so. We're also going to have to keep this filled up with swords. So what I'm thinking is doing something similar to what we have with the farming station. Teaching our system how to make, I'm thinking iron swords. We can't use tinker swords, unfortunately. So we can't put like an unbreaking sword or anything like that in. So I'm thinking about teaching our system how to make iron swords. And then just having it export and auto craft iron swords whenever it needs it. That's not going to be the fastest way because iron swords are going to take quite a while to kill the wither. But it's a way that's going to work. If anyone knows of a better sword that we could use that's going to be easy to make a lot of, I would be very interested to hear that. But for now, let's do that. Let's make yet one more export bus. Let's see here. We should probably have to go ahead and grab ourselves yet another circuit here and go ahead and throw those into there with some silicon, which we also don't have. For some reason, my system over here is not working. I think I've messed up with some channels somewhere down the line, and I'm gonna have to fix those up before the world download. But anyway, we'll work on that in a second. For now, let's just focus on getting this thing actually working. That should be done. The world might be glitching out just a little bit. Let's grab ourselves another export bus, as well as another crafting card. We can then set that up the same way we've set up everything else up until now. We'll do that. We'll throw in the non-existent iron sword. Let's quickly request an iron sword. Again, that should start to craft... our crafting CPUs are currently engaged. probably with a crafting recipe that's not actually doing anything. Let's see here. What are you trying to make? Yeah, okay, that's not going to work. Let's request ourselves an iron sword here real quick. Boom, boom. And then we should be able to do something like this. Boom, boom. And I think that should automatically fill it up, but we'll set that to pull just in case. And there we go. That's filled with iron swords. Now, I think we're about good to go. Is there anything I'm missing here? Because I don't want to test it and it break. But I think we're actually not missing anything. We are probably going to need one more timer because, of course, let's see here, timer. We have to bring the blocks back in order to send them over again. No, wait, we don't. Wait a second here. Let me move. Right, we want it to start like this. We want the reinforced obsidian to start on this side so that when it moves over into the case of reinforced obsidian, it has a floor of reinforced obsidian. So, let's just grab something like this Tyrion over here and throw it down inside here. And then what it should do is just work. So what should happen now is if we hook this up, it should tick the timer, place down the wither, move the wither over. Then we are going to have to increase this timer actually real quick. Let's bump that up to say, we'll bump it up to a minute for now. I'm not quite sure if it's going to take a minute. We'll have to like just test it and see. But it's going to move it over. The Killager is going to kill it. And then once the minute's up, it's going to tick again. It's going to flick that. That's going to go on. It's going to switch it back over. At that point, it's going to go ahead and move the reinforced obsidian from here over to here. And then move the Tyrion that we've just put down in there back that way, which is not what we want. So we need to make ourselves a little bit more reinforced obsidian. So for now, just to make this a little bit easier to set this up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some out of the wall here. This is mostly just protective, but I don't think we're going to need quite all of it. So instead what we'll do, because the reinforced obsidian is a bit hard to make, I will go ahead and move all of this stuff. We'll place more reinforced obsidian down like that. We'll grab a little bit more of it if we flipping get out of here. We'll grab a little bit more of it from over on this side of the wall. And this should be good to go. We'll throw all these down. And now when we flip this lever, everything should work fine. So, let's go ahead and do this. We're going to right click that with the wrench. And now, when that ticks over, it should place the wither down and then move it over. We got like 15 seconds left. It's a bit anticlimactic, but it should work. It should 100% work. We are also going to need a vacuum hopper, which we don't have, but we can make one in a second. That's kind of the last thing we have to worry about. Okay. It didn't work, but that's fine. Let me try real quick getting some red alloy wire. Maybe that will work. I've no idea why it wouldn't work with what we've got right now, but for some reason the repeater also didn't like this. So, if we do that and then that, maybe that will work. And just to flip and speed this up. Okay, that didn't work. We have to set you to ignore... Ooh, no, we have to set you to low redstone. Actually, high redstone. We want this to be only putting down stuff when it receives a redstone signal. You should automatically be doing this as well. Okay, so I figured out the problem there. For some reason, you have to go into the control for the redstone and said output a strong redstone signal. So we'll do that on all of the... We only have to do it on the block places. We don't have to do it on the autonomous activators. With the autonomous activators, you just have to make sure that it's set to redstone control high so that it does listen to redstone. And now, when it ticks, it didn't place them all down. Oh, and also you have to set it to in and out, like that. We have to set it to in and out for the redstone. In and out. Is that one already set to in and out? And then this one should also be set to in and out. Make sure you do it for the redstone like that. Let's see if this works now. I'm going to just bump this up to like edges so it doesn't flick over for me. Boom. Wither is spawned. And moved. Okay. That kind of worked. Almost. It didn't quite work. That Killager should start to get killing this thing anytime soon. Active without signal. There we go. That's going to go ahead and like slowly killing the wither over flipping forever and ever and ever. Let's just keep bumping that up because I don't want it to tick over any second now. That didn't quite work because it also moved over some extra soul sand, which it didn't need to move over. So, is there like a setting in here for pulse? Maybe not a strong signal, but maybe just in and out. Maybe a strong signal lasts too long. This has worked before, so I will go ahead and turn this off and this off. And we'll try that again in just a second once it manages to kill the wither, which it has done. Look at that, boom. Oh, bear in mind, the Killer Joe will also kill you, if given the chance. Thankfully, our armor is extremely powerful right now. Please stop. Thank you. Okay, we'll pick all that stuff up. We'll turn this guy back on. Active without signal. There we go. Let's try this again. I'm going to get rid of these. And for some reason, wither skeleton skulls just take forever to break. But we'll get rid of those. And again, we will go ahead and we'll flick. It spawned in too much. I'm not quite sure why. Okay, so the last thing that I can think of here is that we're leaving the lever on too long, maybe? So what I'm going to try, before we try and, like, change too much stuff, is I'm going to try and just let this do it instead. So we'll let that tick. And hopefully just the quick pulse still moved too much. Okay, so really long time later. This actually took me like ages to figure out a way to make this work. This thing is actually up and running. We should see it work in like 3 seconds now. The Killer Joe has just finished killing the wither. The timer should be about to tick over. The wither spawns, gets moved over, it's going to explode, it's going to get killed by the Killer Joe, and it should repeat over and over and over and over and over again forever and ever and ever. How did that do it? Well, for some reason, the block placers were placing down too many blocks in the one, like, little brief period of redstone that they had. So, what I had to do was, using the wrench, you can just right-click and kind of disconnect certain conduits from other conduits. So I disconnected the top layer of conduits, connecting the autonomous activators from the bottom layer of conduits, and introduced another repeater. I set this to, I think, like 2 in, and then I bumped that one up to like 4. So now what happens is, these all get placed down, all the soul sand gets placed down, and then the redstone signal stops before we can place down another one. Because what was happening before is it was placing one down, it was forming the wither, but then it still had time. It was happening so fast that the redstone signals was still active when the wither moved, and therefore it put down a little bit more soul sand, and then it finished. So now what happens is it puts down the soul sand, the redstone stops, then it puts down the wither skeleton skulls, then it teleports it over. So this can no longer put down too much soul sand at once, which means that this should now work, and it looks like it is. I've done a few tests now, it's done it like about 5 times. I have this over here set to about 60 seconds, 51 seconds to be precise, and this thing is working just fine. We even had the iron sword break once or twice, and it still manages to refill the iron sword with enough time to kill it off before it spawns in a new one. You can see over here. We could probably actually shave a couple of seconds off this. Got about 10 seconds there. We could probably take it down to like 40 seconds maybe. But I'm going to leave it at 51 just to give us that little bit of leeway when it comes to all that stuff. You'll see we have a vacuum hopper here, which is filling up nicely with stuff now. You can see we have a lot of nether cubes, a lot of division sigils and all that good stuff. It is very nice indeed. So what I'm going to do now, guys, I'm going to go away real quick. I'm going to fix all this stuff. I'm going to make it so it doesn't look absolutely horrible. And I'll be back in a second. And finally, a little while later, this thing is almost back to looking as good as it did when we first started here. Just going to go ahead and move out of the way for that. Cover this stuff up there. So this just looks nice and clean over here. And then finally, over here, we have a trash can and a chest. And basically what I'm going to do is set these to ignore redstone and ignore redstone. That should pull out all... These are retrieval nodes, by the way. So what they should do is what exactly they are doing. It's going to go ahead and trash all of the division sigils. Although they are kind of useful the first time, we don't want hundreds of them backing up our AE system. So they're all going to go into the trash can. And then finally, we need one more import bus. I feel like we've made nothing but import and export buses during this episode. We need one more import bus here real quick. Like so. Oh, come on. What are we missing? We're missing probably... Oh, no, wow. We have a thing there. That's new. Let's go ahead and make ourselves a piston. Turn it into a sticky piston, like so, and get ourselves an import bus. And then finally, we're just going to go ahead and import all of those nether cubes, as well as all of the yellow hearts there, into the AE system using this little chest that we have here. And that is why we have all the reinforced obsidian, because the thing is pretty loud. I'll also probably go ahead and move the sound muffler down as well, because the sound of both the wither, and the little ticking that the timer makes is a bit annoying. But with that... That should go ahead and start to work, hopefully, any second now. Yes, I don't think we've run out of channels just yet. We'll go throw those in and those in. We have 19 nether stars already, which is kind of awesome. That's just going to go ahead and every 51 seconds, we're going to get another set of nether stars and those yellow hearts. So with that, guys, I am going to end the episode there. I'll go ahead and dump all of my stuff into either the AE system. Actually, I'm just going to dump it onto the AE system like that. Take off all my armor here. Throw that in there. It's all fully charged. Thanks to our wireless charger. One last thing I did want to show you is the... oh, we walk so slow. 1 second. I'm going to get my armor back. We're also probably going to have that little wither bar at the top of our screen there for like the rest of the episodes now. Was it like Wyvern? Yeah, it was. Wyvern armor. Here we go. Let's take all this real quick. I do want to show you the wither skeleton spawner over in the Nether. Haven't really changed much. The basic concept is still the same, but it does work a little bit better now. We had some issues with the rechargeable sword, so we had to change a couple of the things that we have set up here. I replaced all the cobblestone with nether brick. I just think it looks a little bit nicer. And basically what we have now is in here, instead of having the item ducts from thermal expansion, we have the ones from Ender.io, because there is a specific filter from Ender.io. This guy over here, the chargeable item filter, which allows us to pull it out exactly when the sword is fully out of juice, and then out of this one down here. I'll actually be able to show it to you in the energetic infuser down here. That's where it's going in. This is where it's coming out. If we look in here, you can see it's got a chargeable item filter, and we could say that when it equals 100%, you can pull it out, and then up there we obviously have one that says when it equals 0%, pull it out, so it's constantly being pulled out. Everything is working fine. We are getting a ton of wither skeleton skulls. So with that, guys, I am going to end this episode here. I'm going to go ahead and throw my wither armor back into the AE system. There will be a world download link down below. If you would like to play along with me, you can download the world, throw it into your Feed the Beast Infinity, and play along with me for the future episodes, or just tinker around with it and do whatever the flipping heck you like. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to like, and I will see you guys next time.